Hello, and welcome to today, which is Tuesday, the 28th of February. This is my last vlog of the month, and indeed, it's the last day of the month because our next leap day isn't until next year, 2024. Now, I have three very contrasting questions, and I might take a bit of time to answer them, so I'll just get going. Carl Jacobs from Dillon in Montana, which I assume is the USA. Hello. He says, I'm studying English politics at the moment. Can you explain what is meant when they say the Speaker is dragged to the chair? Well, the Speaker of the House of Commons in the UK is really the owner of the chamber and is responsible for everything that goes on in the House of Commons. And traditionally, without it, the House of Commons can't sit. Also, in the past, many years ago, there were three speakers who were executed, one after the other. And as a result, when it came to the fourth person to be elected by all the MPs, he didn't want the job and tried to run away. Instead, he was caught at the doors and he was dragged to the chair. So that is what is meant by dragging the Speaker to the chair. We've had in the past some excellent speakers, two that come to mind, as George Thomas, who became Viscount Tonypaddy, and the recently departed Betty Boothroyd, who became Baroness Boothroyd and was a very formidable woman indeed. Thomas David from Carmarthen in Wales. The Welsh Government announced an extensive road building programme and have now scrapped it. But Wales is in desperate need for motorways and safe roads. What is your opinion? Well, first of all, Tom, or Thomas, however you wish to be called, I don't think the entire programme has been scrapped. I just think they're only going ahead with about 15 of them. Having lived on Anglesey, which is the island off of North Wales, I know the desperate need there is to have a proper motorway system from south to north, from north to south. I think the geology of the country is part of the problem. I think they will need quite extensive engineering skills and equipment, which could make it financially prohibitive, but they'll definitely need it. What I did find funny was that the reasons put forward by the Welsh Government were more to do with the environment and global warming. Well, all I can say is that electric cars and electric vehicles will still need motorways. Right, and the next one is Pam Gorky from Adelaide in Australia. What is your opinion on Roald Dahl books being rewritten so as not to upset people? Wow, rewritten sounds very dramatic. I think it's just a few words that have been changed. But having said that, I personally object to any form of censorship, particularly in the arts. I mean, writers and musicians have often gone over their works and rewrote, or at least made alterations. But to have others to suddenly say, oh, you can't have that word or that phrase or whatever, I think is a very dangerous position to be in. Over the years, of course, even the Bible and other religious texts have been altered to sort of measure up with the thinking and the mental illness of the day. And I've mentioned in the past, for those of you who don't know, for a period I was the fat controller for the company Brittlecroft, who owned Thomas the Tank Engine at the time. And there were many noises off saying that the fat controller should just be referred to as Sir Topham Hatt. And I remember one lady in particular getting quite irate and saying, why is it you insist on being called the fat controller? And my simple answer was, it's because it distinguishes me from the thin controller. So today, I find I mustn't refer to myself as fat, but I must instead change it to enormous. And I mustn't suggest that I'm ugly. I must say I'm grotesque. Well, I'm very sorry, but I find enormous and grotesque extremely offensive, whereas fat and ugly is just a term that trips off the tongue quite easily. So I'd say to people, don't get too uptight. And I do wonder what my ugly sisters, Dudley Rogers and Reese Ryan, would think if they suddenly had to call themselves grotesque sisters. So, to the pious and anally retentive control freaks, what have I got to say to you? Why should the 98% of us have our lives, I was going to say ruined, but not, but our lives changed and we have to tiptoe around the rather sensitive 2%? So, as the wonderful Betty Boothroyd might have said, order, order. Just grow up